Hey guys, WLJK back. Excuse me for 1 second. Time for more of the tips in the tech time with WLJK. This section, I'm going to talk about the little stuff. Little stuff meaning connectors, wiring, mixer, microphone, stuff that is not directly PC hardware. Okay, so that would be the microphone, the mixer, the cabling going to the computer, cabling going here, cabling going there, whatever it may be. So first off, we'll start with the easy stuff. Cables. Now, when I first started out, and I actually have the set here, this is the set of RCA cables I had in one way, shape, or form hooked between the TV and my mixer. You see how thin that wire is? Now, this isn't bad for the 5-foot cable that this is. It's not bad. It's not bad for analog signals. But when you're running like I am, I have 25-foot cables going from my mixer back to this TV and the setup over here. I got cables, and I don't have one here as an example. And I can't pull one out. Imagine, if you will. Actually, yes, I do. Hold on a second. I do have a cable I can use as an example. I just got a ginger lady. What the heck's it? Oh, interesting example. If I can get it out. I don't think I can, so I don't think, no, I won't be able to. But anyway, the gauge or the thickness of the cables is about twice as thick as this. So if you take this cable and instead of it being this thick, make it about, trying to get without glare, maybe double the thickness, say about that thick. That's a pretty decent cable. Now, here's the tip with that. One, you do not need gold-plated connectors. Okay, I have learned this. You don't need gold-plated connectors. They're nice. They say that they are to help prevent corrosion in the connection. Yeah. Give you a hint. Say you have this, even though this isn't. Say this is gold-plated, and the part you connect it into, which I'm going to use the adapter here as an example, which is nickel. Corrosion is caused by two separate metals having a chemical reaction to each other. All right, in this example, this is tin, boom, no problem. If this was gold and this was tin, you'd put it together after a while of heating and collecting moisture, because I don't care how dry your apartment or house may be, it will collect moisture. This will eventually corrode. I don't care what anybody says. I've had it happen. It wasn't major. It was not major. Matter of fact, there's type of corrosion. Everybody thinks corrosion like battery terminal cables. The greenish white powder. Corrosion can come as simple as your gold getting tarnished, getting dark. That's corrosion also. Corrosion is basically a form of what they call oxidation, which is just like rust. It's a chemical reaction between your environment and your metals. Now, yes, gold does slow it down, but for little stuff like this, this isn't bad. Tin and tin, or nickel and nickel. Now, if you have gold-plated connectors in your stereo, then by all means, use gold-plated connectors. You know, it won't hurt it. It just keep an eye on them. Clean them every once in a while. Now, cleaning, you just unplug everything, take a Q-tip, dip in some rubbing alcohol, wipe it, take a clean Q-tip or a dry Q-tip, wipe off the alcohol, lay it set aside, let it dry. It'll clean everything off, no problem. Just don't do it on your components. Do it only on the cables. Components is just better. Just take a Kleenex and just wipe it. Try not to scratch, otherwise you will get corrosion and rust and everything else. So that's the cables. Now, to give you an idea with my setup, I have 25-foot cables. It's not 25 foot. I'm sorry, I'm whipping the cable around. It's not 25 foot going from where I'm sitting. To give you an idea, my mixer used to be, well, you guys seen the videos before. The mixer was in front of my PC, which is about arm lengths away. It's no longer there. It's sitting right here. Matter of fact, let me lift this up real quick. Give you an idea. It is sitting literally, pardon the nasty ashtray. Where's that? Right here. You can see it's hard to do this. There we go. So you can see it's right there, right at my fingertips now. So you think my cable is going to the back wall, over, around the computer, down this wall, over, up the spine of my entertainment shelf to my components. That's not 25 foot. Did I need 25 foot? No, I only needed like 18. But there's a reason why I bought 25 foot. The reason why I bought 25 foot is because my microphone cable is 25 foot. You're probably going, okay, yeah, so what? There's a little electrical anomaly called ground loop. Now, you can turn around and have the most expensive high-end audio equipment in the world. You can have the high-end cable, but you may still get a hum. Now, musicians, they know this. Roadies for musicians know this. People running recording studios know this. Not too much the general public. Here is what it is. Ground loop causes a hum. Now, how do you get ground loop hum? Basically, oddball lengths of wire. Okay. Now, I'm not talking about wire going from like your component to your speakers. That's completely different. I'm talking about connection wires, especially in mixers and audio equipment for musical instruments. There are many, many videos out there on YouTube to explain this. But what it is, all right, my microphone has a 25-foot cable for input. Trying to remember what it is. The TV has a 25-foot long cable going to input. They're balanced. Okay. Now, it may not be perfectly 25 feet. It might be like 24 foot 9 inches with one and 25 foot 1 inch with the other. They're close enough. With them balanced, it's like balancing your stereo, left and right channel. It's balanced. It's drawing the same amount of power. It's using the same amount of power. And in turn, pushing back out another 25 foot. It's using the same amount of power. Now, here's the oddball thing. My Y splitter going from the RCA to the computer is, oddly enough, I just realized it, and don't know why I didn't think about it earlier, is 25 foot. I can't complain. I had like a 24-foot extension cable I got somewhere. I don't know where I had it. And it just so happens the Y adapter's a foot. So there, it's 25 foot. So everything on my mixer is a balanced 25 feet. Now, do you need it that length? No. Matter of fact, I don't think it matters as much with microphone cable per se. Because microphone is its own entity, especially if you have with XLR, I believe is the name of it. the microphone cable. It has not only the power, it's not only pulling power in for the sound, but it's also pushing power out. So it's basically enclosed itself, so it doesn't get as much ground loop. It's when you get into other inputs, if you're using the headphone jacks, like these, you get more of a chance of ground loop with that than you do with the microphone. I'm not saying you don't, but you get less of a chance. So anyway, that's that. So there's the cable aspect. Now, here's something else out. Everybody's seen this. If you've watched my earlier videos, I've talked about these little hunks of junk. I found out where I got them from, and I hate to say it, this is the worst thing. It might be just because I had a bad batch of them, or the fact that I didn't take care of them as good as I should have. But this is the worst thing I've ever bought from Guitar Center. It's these 90 degrees. Now, if you're plugging in and you don't use it that much, and your cables aren't yanking down on them, they're probably okay. Now, with that being said, because you have to have this to plug into your mixer, right? You got RCA at one end, plug this into your mixer. There's two other options you can go with this. They make, naturally, a straight. Bend this straight up. Instead of a 90 degree, it's a straight. Spend a couple extra bucks. Now, if you go, and I don't know the prices of them, but I know they're sold. I just don't know the lengths. They actually sell the RCA cables where it's RCA on one end and this on the other. Now, as far as I know, you go and get them at like musical shops like Guitar Center and wherever else. I don't know of any other brand, high-end box store music shops other than Guitar Center, because there's one down the road from me. So if you can find those cables, then great. You don't have to get these adapters. Me personally, I sort of prefer to have these adapters because this part you have a less chance of going bad. The RCAs, you got a little bit more chance of going bad because when you plug these in, they click and they stay. RCAs, they pop out. And if they pop in and out too many times, and they lose their tensile strength of holding the connection together. So after a while, you're going to need to replace them. Unless you're like me and you sit there and crimp them together onto this and make it tighter, but that's really not that good either. So that's the suggestion with that. Now, one last thing with microphone, saying that's not part of the PC per se. Now, I say per se because I don't have my Turtle Beaches handy. I don't think. Actually, let me pause it here. I'll be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. I totally forgot about this, so I did not have my prop ready. Everybody's seen these. We all know the infamous Turtle Beaches. In my opinion, one of the, I'm not going to say the best, but one of the better gaming headsets. Unfortunately for mine broke. That's why there's tape like this. The little thing in here broke, and it's actually splendid together. So that's really messed up too. But anyway, when I started doing Minecraft videos, this is what I used. Used this little boom, and of course, headphone and microphone input and output jacks plugged directly into the computer. That's what I used. Was it the best? No. It worked. Now, I attempted to use this with the mixer. Only problem is you're going from and I don't even know why it's like this. a stereo microphone. Stereo microphone, one microphone, stereo plug. The input's a mono plug, so it didn't work out. That's why some of the later ones, when I got the mixer and was still using these, it's, I guess you could say I sounded a little mecca. Now, are these bad headphones? No. If you are a Xbox gamer, you are a PS3 gamer, you are a PC gamer, these are still not bad. Matter of fact, hypothetically, if I was playing Modern Warfare 3 on the PC, I would have these plugged in. You might go, why? Because the nice little adapter they give me with this, that gets the digital audio signal from my computer and gives me simulated surround sound in these headphones. Now, would I use the microphone to talk like I'm recording? No. I would have the microphones hooked into the controller so that I can communicate in-game, which if I was recording, you would hear me because I'd be standing here with the headphones talking with the mic here and this mic here, and you would still hear me, and then I'd have it set up that the air things would pick up and yada yada and whatever. But with that being said, you might go, okay, well, the microphone you use now, it's an expensive one. Believe it or not, this microphone, this little fluffy microphone you see right here, was actually cheaper than these. Now, I'm not talking about the whole set. This came with the amplifier, with the processor and stuff. If you just bought these headphones, this microphone's cheaper. Now, with that being said, you might go, okay, well, what type of stand to use on your microphone? Do you need a high-end stand? No, you don't. Is it nice? Yeah. You don't need a professional microphone stand. Microphone stands, you can actually make them, believe it or not. You can make them. You just got to know where to find the right parts. Matter of fact, this microphone, see if I can pop this up here. Probably not. I got wedged in here. Let's do it this way. This microphone, and I'm not gonna be able to pull it out too far. Let's get that untangled. Came with this little tripod. Okay, it's a little hard to see, but it's a little tripod. There we go. There's better. That came with the microphone. Now you might go, okay, well, after I just realized I got everything all tangled up here, you might be asking, well, that microphone's good for a desk. What do you use when you're doing console? Which, yes, I admit I haven't done much, but that's where this comes in. You can use just about anything laying around to work as a tripod. Now, you could turn around and have a wooden stand. Say you sit up next to a bookshelf. You can have this sitting on a bookshelf aiming at you, talking to you, you talking to it. In my case, I don't have that. What I have is this. Now, everybody's going, okay. In case if you don't know what this is a camera tripod. Now, this tripod actually has 4 uses for me. Okay. Number 1 is to put my old camcorder. Because if I showed this thing to you, you would understand why. Nowadays, your camcorders are, almost the size of a pop can. Okay, give you an idea. Mine is like, better yet, let me pull it out. Stay. I don't want that board coming slamming down. Give you an idea. Now, this is not one of those old, if you look at your grandparents' camcorders. This is the camcorder I have. Now, unfortunately, it uses videotapes. Yes, we know videotapes are outdated. Now, just like almost everything else I've ever bought, by the time I was able to afford it, it was outdated. Now, it's not a bad camera. So, I've shot live action video with this, air show footage, race footage, um, just goofing around footage with that camcorder. I think I've recorded a total of maybe 24 hours worth of footage with that camera. I've had the thing for like, let's say 8 years. So, that's sort of sad. So that was the number one primary use of this. Second is my, well, at the time it wasn't called an SLR, but it was a precursor to an SLR. My camera, my Olympus, that's mounted to this too. I've mounted it to this. Haven't used it that much on it. But the webcam that I'm talking to you guys through right now, well, looking at you guys right now, has the base that plugs in right here. It's threaded on that webcam. So I can put that webcam on there. So if I decide to do a face cam while playing console games, I can have that aimed off to the side over here facing this way. But I came across a problem now is because the third thing, or the fourth thing, the webcam is actually the latest thing I've used on it. Before I've used the microphone on it. Now the nice thing is, before I get into the adapter, the nice thing is this not only, now that'll pop out like that at a 90 degree plus the head pivots, so it acts like a decent, not a great, a decent microphone stand. But you might be going, okay, the camera stand has an itty bitty little threaded screw on it, where the microphone stand has a big threaded hole in it. Let me put this down real quick before I drop it. I gotta clean out my garbage can over there. Here it is. Now this, and I'm gonna pop this out apart because it's in two pieces. If it'll let me pop apart, there we go. Now then, this is where it comes fun. All right, the microphone stand I showed you earlier. Inside it is a hole about that big around, as you can see, that this would thread into. Now what this is an adapter that adapted from American style threaded microphone stands to European metric microphone stands. This you can buy at music shops. They charge you like $5 for this, which still isn't bad. Now comes the other part. This little bugger. This is an adapter bushing. I've only found this in one place in the US. I'm sure it's other places, but this is the only place I've found it online. Now what this is it adapts from, well, this whole unit goes from American microphone, the thread for the clip, to the European thread. This goes from the European thread, which I'm doing this, I'm looking at cross-eyed, which as you can see, it threads into this. And you don't have to crank this down, believe me. And then, as you can see, it reduces the size of the thread, of the hole. This will now couple the little base that my webcams presently hook to the clip of the microphone. So that will now allow me to use that camera stand, that tripod, for my microphone. So that's how I do that. And the microphone can sit facing this way. It can be down, sort of angled this way up at me. I can actually have it in front of me down below if I wanted. But two other suggestions for the webcam, or not the webcam, the microphone, and that's going to be it for this part, is, and everybody's made the comment about I have a big microphone. It's not actually that big. The microphone's probably about that big around. I have a foam windbreaker on it. Okay. That, it muffles the sound a little bit, but you don't get as much if I'm going, you don't get as much, like if I have the ceiling fan on, you don't hear that much. That helps take care of some noise. Plus, there's something they call a pop filter. Now, pop filters you don't really need to buy. You can make one. Pop filters are basically a screen that goes on an arm that goes from your microphone stand and goes in front of the microphone. Helps with different noises. I don't know exactly what because I haven't really looked into them. I'm going to be looking into it here shortly. But you can make a pop filter. Basically, and for the guys, you might be a little embarrassed at doing this. But, you know, if you're young, go to your mom and ask, you know, can I get one of your nylons? They're going to look at you weird. They're going to tell them you're going to make a pop filter and explain it to them. You take a coat hanger and you, not a plastic one, a metal one, if you can find a metal one, or if you can find metal wire, a solid wire, piano wire, and you make a circle, probably about, about that big. It could be bigger. And what you do is you have it that round, you have a piece of the wire come off, and you make it so it wraps around your microphone stand and attaches somehow. You'd have to figure that out, a clamp or something. But you put the nylon or the stocking over that loop. That's your pop filter. I think basically what it does is it helps prevents from the sound. I don't know. I'm going to look into making and or buying one. I'm probably going to buy one because my wife don't wear those. So. I don't think it looked too good in me going into Walgreens and buying a pack of pantyhose just to turn around and cut them up to turn around and make pop filters. But yeah, that's basically it for the hardware setup. The suggestion with the mixer, if you think you're going to do just the basic recording, get a, I think mine is a, of course it's a 502. It's 5 inputs, 2 outputs, which means you got a microphone input, you got 4 mono inputs, so that's your 5, and you got 2 mono outputs, not counting your headphone output. That's just the part that's controlled by the mixer. 502 works great, or works good. 802 works great. Now, if you were going to go into where you wanted sound effects, a soundboard and whatnot, they make one, I believe it's called a 1202. There's like 3 versions of it. The one version I saw online actually had a sound effects board built into it. Now, me personally, I don't need a sound effects board or mixer with that in it, because once again, with the separate notebook doing the Skype client, that client can also run a sound effects board. So I would have the output of the Skype call plus the sound effects going into one mixer. So 2 things on that one computer going into the mixer for 1 input, and then ultimately to my system for recording. So, but that's besides the point. That I'm not going to get too into because I haven't finished with that section yet. So, yeah, so this has been WLJK. I shall catch you guys later in our last part, which will be software tips that, if I can remember them all, I might have to sit down for a moment and write them down. But, software tips for the tech time. So I shall catch you guys later.